Welcome back, everyone, here for the Rally Cry halftime show. We are one step away from Team Tony Top taking a spot in the NACL. What a way it was as well. A consistent lead, it felt like the whole time. And again, sticking to the nature of the beast, it felt like, Joshi.
Yeah. It was definitely a slightly different in the fact that Tony himself didn't have nearly the same kind of impact on the series or on the game as they have on the rest of the series, but it was definitely one where we got to see Sudsy really step up, I think, for the first time and be a really primary force that actually got them through towards the end of the game. So really exciting to see that all of their players are having a fantastic series.
Not just Sudsy. I think the big highlight of that game was Snow. Oh my word!
That was a really good dragon fight.
Where he read, it wasn't just the dragon fights. A lot of his flanks as a whole really got the early game going for Team Tony Top. You know, I really appreciate what he was able to do.
Yeah, it was actually incredible. And now seeing what, Team Fish Taco can do on a response is the biggest question. But we'll see, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, because until then, we have our halftime segment to get to. And me being, we were talking about collegiate all the time. I have a degree in environmental science plus biology. I worked in a zoo for over a year. And so, I figured I'd bring that to the table a little bit. We're going to go on a Challenger Safari here, gentlemen, as we do have some players that have listed their favorite exotic animals to me, and I've picked out the ones that I wanted to talk about today here. So I've got 4 animals to choose from. You're going to tell me which player is associated with which animal in terms of their favorite exotic animal. Do you think
how many of them said
down?
cat?
None this time.
None. Okay, so
we're already winning. We're already winning, Joshi. We're already winning. All right. We're going to go ahead and get to it. So I'm going to throw up our first animal. Again, going to give out some facts about the animal as we go. Maybe doesn't pertain to the player itself. Nothing to kind of go through. Some of them will. But I'll talk about some of the facts. You guys can think about it, and then we can talk about who it is. And I'll actually give a quote for each player about why. So we'll go ahead and throw the first one up here. So our first one, what a cutie. Ain't it cutie? It is an axolotl. And this little guy, he's carnivore, actually. He is so cute. But does eat small aquatic creatures, worms, crustaceans, small fish. They can live for more than 10 years. This little guy can live for more than 10 years. The most interesting thing, though, if they spend prolonged periods of time in shallow waters, their gills actually absorb into their bodies, and they use their lungs on land, and they can vice versa do it. So it depends where they live. So they're a little bit of adaptive creatures. Who do you think favorite animal could be the axolotl?
Just so cute too.
They are just so cute. They are just adorable.
I'm gonna put my guess on Dabshin. Reminds me of an axolotl, man.
Okay. I don't. Is there a reason?
She's cute too. Josh had this whole argument earlier about
the way Lennon said adaptive makes it sound like adaption.
Well, you're both wrong.
Well, crap.
Because this is actually Snow's favorite exotic creature. And the reason is, okay, first of all, it's not just the reason. He sent me the GIF, the Chad GIF. All right? That's how it started. But then the quote afterwards was, he's just that guy. What can't he do? Be cute, regrow limbs. He inspired Mudkip. That's the quote.
My favorite Pokemon, by the way.
Yeah, So shout outs to Snow, whose favorite exotic animal is an axolotl. We'll move on to the next creature.
Some of those plays were carnivorous.
Yeah, some of them were for sure.
Yeah.
Now the next one, maybe a little bit of a tricky beast. When he likes to play games, it is a gibbon.
Woo!
And these guys, they are not monkeys. They are actually the smallest apes on the planet.
Oh.
They are in the category of, would you say, the gorillas? So they are, though, very, very sneaky. They love to mess with literally everything they can. They spend their entire days pretty much in the treetops. They travel across the trees by swinging. That is their primary mode of transportation. And they can swing as fast as a galloping horse can run, which is actually incredible. You got to be going fast through those trees.
Are we talking about Wallflower last game? Because that's my guess right now. That's what you perfectly described his play.
They communicate by singing. I don't think this has anything to do with it.
It's Darshan.
They're primary singers. They actually sing every morning. And they actually modulate the pitch of their voice, which is not a commonality in animals, which I find really cool. So Who do you think's favorite animal is a gibbon? Who likes to mess with people? Who likes to... You said what?
I said Dardoch. I'm going to stick with that.
Well, you're both wrong again. It is a lorem, whose favorite animal is a gibbon. And the reasoning is because they have the innate instinct to try and mess with anything they can get close to.
Serious.
Yeah, fits the bill. All right, we'll move on to our next one here. I've got a third animal, and this one is a tried and true across our esports world. It is a panda, a classic for a lot of our players. They always go to this one. It's an easy one. It's cute. It's adorable, but they are also pretty strong. All right, they can swim. They can climb. They're also extremely versatile in their environment. They have an extended wrist bone, which means they have actually 6 pieces of I guess, appendages on their fingers, on their hands. They use it like a thumb, and they spend all their day eating. And maybe there's a roll that works like that. We'll see. Whose favorite animal is a panda out of these 10 players that we have here?
Levitate. It's an A to carry, and all they do is
you guys are taking some L's right now on this one. All right. I'm teaching you all about these animals. That's a dub, but you're taking these L's on these answers.
Robert Bobbert.
Oh, you're both wrong again. It is Tony Top, whose favorite animal is a panda. Because they're cute and lazy like me, is what he says. Also, they're from China. So there you go.
All right, that checks out.
Yeah,
that sounds like Tony Top.
That should have been the teller right there.
So Tony Top's favorite animal is a panda. So real quick, we've gone through the axolotl. That was Snows. We had the gibbon or a lorem, which is the sneaky ape. We got the panda for Tony Top. And our last one that everybody knows, one that is a tried and true secret to the family home. It is the GOAT, GOAT. And, who do you think was the GOAT? Who do you think is the GOAT? Who do you think's favorite animal is the GOAT?
APA is not here this time. Dang it. I'm going to do Wallflower again.
What did you say, Joshi?
I'm going to go with red.
Joshi, you're wrong. Desirect, you're right. Let's go. Wallflower, I know you talked about him just a little bit at the beginning when we were talking about how that game went, but this has been an undercurrent in the series, picking up after game 2. This man is literally the GOAT of this series because he's able to lock down the jungle, find so much strength through that, and we didn't get a fourth response from a player in time for the animal. So that's gonna be why we have the GOAT. But in all actuality, it fits so well because Wallflower seriously has been such a strong current. Game 2, game 3. Now we're looking to see what happens in game number 4, and specifically after our Challengers Safari. Thank you all for joining me on that trip down Animal Lane, I guess it was. I do want to hone back in and see what Team Fish Taco can do to kind of bounce back into this, Desirect.
Before we do, can I ask you your favorite exotic animal?
A lion.
Lion. I like it. A bear. Bear right here.
King of the jungle. Bear? Okay. Joshi?
Kakapo.
Ooh, it's a good one. It's a good one. Take you a while to find the exotic?
Huh?
Did it take you a while to find that one? Did you like? No.
I love birds and kakapos. If you don't know what it is, it's Kakapo. It's a giant, fat, flightless parrot from New Zealand.
And they are adorable, actually.
Yeah.
They're one of the only birds that eyes face forward. And it's actually really, really tasty. But I do want to video.
Hold on, you can find a video of one shagging a guy's head.
Bears hibernate, and I vibe with naps.
Team Fish Taco, they have to find a way back into this, especially with kind of the adaptation we saw from Tony in that series, game number 3. Where do you see, Joshi, an avenue forward here?
The big thing is they need to find a way to trick Alorum's champion pool yet again to have a good matchup there. And also they need to give Dardoch something where they can really impact the early game. The Karthus was interesting, but they only had like 2 lanes that were actually consistently getting priority. They need to get all 3 if they want to try that again.
And get something that can get onto the back line with Levitate, because no one was able to contest with him.
There you go. That's the important thing right there. You got the game plan now. We will see if they're able to bring us to a sweet silver scrape or if Team Tony Top will be our newest NACL team. We'll see you on the other side of this game. Guys, have fun.
Thank you, Marcel.
Bye, Lennon.
Josh, what was the name of that? I got to look that up real quick.
Kakapo. Kakapo.
Akapo.
I think it was on some British television show as well, and it hopped up on the guy's head, and had a good time there as well. But as we start getting into this one, it is worth noting that Team Fish Taco have chosen to swap sides for the first time this series, and this is going to be the first time that we will get to see what the first pick for Team Fish Taco will actually be. We have seen the jungle priority shift a fair amount. The Wukongs, the Maokais have both been up in arms for both sides, but we have seen that Red going for the Aphelios a couple of times as well. I'm curious what else Team Fish Taco would really value picking up first here, because it doesn't feel to me as though there are any single champions that are so worthy of being first pick that you gotta get blue side right now.
See, their last draft, as that game did come through, was Urgot, Karthus, Sion, Jinx, Lulu. Maybe you could be one for the Lulu if you want. Oh wait, they already banned out the Lulu. Never mind that completely. yeah. This is gonna be an interesting take. We got one more ban to come through. It's gonna be mostly jungle focused. Team Tony Top, they'll ban away the Varus marksman pull being targeted. Now we get to see that B1. It is the Wukong.
Yeah. All right, well, with the it not being banned, it does make sense for it to be the first pick on the other side. And a lot of the things that Alorum would oftentimes pick that have been banned here, like the Scion, the Ornn, the Malphite, none of these are things that we're likely to see Tony Top play at any point from this. But instead, it is going to be a situation where Levitate had a lot of success on the Jinx earlier on. The Zeri was still available, but they didn't choose to grab it this time instead. What are they going to pair this with? I feel like the Thresh for Daption has been quite strong. It could also be a fantastic way to continue supporting this Jinx here if Snow 2 does actually have it available. And it does look like they are going to be locking it in.
That's a great denial from Daption, and also just a great pickup for Team Tony Top to have that alongside of the Jinx. The Lantern is great for protection. It's great for engaging. It's great for even bringing your jungler in if you want to take that lane gank route. So really establishing their bottom lane in the early phases of this draft, a bottom lane that has been having some pretty good success so far from Team Tony Top.
Yeah, and with the Aphelios getting locked in, it has typically been paired with the Thresh almost exclusively throughout the course of not just the series, but over the course of this entire patch. Instead, it is going to be the Nautilus as a counter pick to Snow 2's Thresh, and this is something that Daption has had a lot of success on, right? A lot of the buffers with the hook have been quite strong, but now Tony Top going to be going right on back towards the Fiora, and they can ban out some of the things that you have the most trouble with, such as the Malphite. Even the Urgot is not the easiest thing in the world to actually try and play into the Fiora.
Fiora was hard to stop once Tony Top got going. It was part of those games where we saw those leads coming from Tony very, very early. It was the Gwen Urgot matchup where we finally got to see a different take here, and I don't think it's going to be too different from game number 2 because Alorum likes his tanks. Should be going down that road quite soon as the next bans. Going towards the solo lanes right now, 2 mid lane bans, both Azir and Victor going to be banned away as well as the Malphite.
Yeah. And Robbie Bob, has kind of struggled to actually find their way into this series, right? We saw that probably his most successful game was the first one, but every single game, this Victor has been banned away and has been by far Robbie Bob's best champion over the course of his career thus far. Curious what it is that they're going to have to pick here into Sudsy, because even with the Azir ban, there's still plenty of things that Sudsy can still pull back out that we just haven't had to see so far this series, because he's been able to go to the Azir almost every single time. But as we see the Viego banned away, it is going to be Wallflower going on over towards the Sejuani, and plenty of engage tools already coming through, a very strong tank, and it's going to be a lot harder for Team Fish Taco to actually try and find their way to Levitate, even with some more tools to actually get there.
It's a pretty flexible team in terms of the way they can use the resources, as well as great side lane pressure coming out from Team Tony Top and the way they've drafted so far. What does Team Fish Taco have in response, especially to that Fiora? Well, if you have a tank, you got a good response in Trundle to take away those resistances.
But more than that, Trundle has been an underplayed champion up in the top lane for years and years, and this looks like the kind of thing where you're actually going to be playing up right up top into Tony Top's Fiora. You actually have a really good matchup here where you can stat check Fiora for a large part of the laning phase and beyond.
All right, next lock-in is going to be that Annie coming out for Team Fish Taco. So now you have some pick potential coming out. This is going to go over to Robbie Bob in the middle lane. What is Team Tony Top going to go for? You see, I always say the team slowly to try and register which one I'm about to say.
Which T's are we going to get through?
Yeah. which T is it going to be? But it seems the T is going to be Orianna this time. That's going to be the lock-in. Sudsy did look fantastic on that Orianna last game.
Now, I do have to say, I have a lot of horror stories about trying to play up against Trundle Top in the past. It is one of those things where if left unattended, you build a hole breaker.
Give us some spooky stories.
It's pretty horrifying. I remember very distinctly, I was actually not playing, I was coaching a game, and we asked the top laner, or my team asked the top laner, because I was just like sitting there listening to their comms, like, hey, are you good? Up in the top lane, and he's like, yeah. And he gets dove, 100-0, dies, loses an entire turret. I was like, hey, are you, do we need to gank for you? Like, do you need any support? No, I'm good. It's turret dove, 100-0, dies. Just dies. And then eventually, as Trundle is done it the third time underneath the inhibitor turret, like, hey guys, I think I need some help. Like, well, we asked you this 3 times, and now this is the kind of thing that's happening. This is the kind of thing that can happen to Alorm as well. If he just finds enough of a lead here up against Tony Top, we could be going to a Game 5. But Eric, we got to establish the stakes for this one. If Team Tony Top take this one down in Game 4, they are in the North American Challengers League right here, right now. No more questions asked. Whereas Team Fish Taco, they need to win 2 more in order to make it there.
Little shout out to Grapes over there. I appreciate that one. But yes, you are right on that one. Team Tony Top, just 1 more game away if they can take this dub right here. It's definitely surpassing a lot of the expectations that we had coming into this. I remember when our first little meeting started when it came to storyboard and all of that. You know, we were saying, like, yeah, maybe one team makes it through. Maybe it's going to be Maryville. They look really strong, but no, a lot of these teams coming out from Tier 3, they look oh so strong, they look oh so good. Team Tony Top, definitely one of them, and it'll be a joy to say hello to them in the NACL.
As we start getting into this one, it is not a whole lot of early game pressure really coming through, but it is going to be a small ward coming through onto Wallflower's blue buff, and Dardoch going to be starting on the opposite side of the map, and so I'm going to be paying a special attention to the way that Alorm actually plays this one, right? He is the kind of player who just plays all kinds of unusual champions up here, but this is such a, I don't want to say brain dead, but straightforward champion that you give a lot of opportunities to give your opponents outplay, whereas you don't have a ton of cool buttons. The only really big, like, mechanical thing that Alorm will have access to is the actual pillar themselves, where you can be really aggressive and use it to make Tony Top sad.
And the attack damage steal that you get from Trundle is always really nice for those trades. You have to really think about when you are going to try and sweep it out alongside a Trundle. Right now, Tony Top is going to take advantage of these early levels, get that level 2, and shove in this wave. Now, look at this. A Lantern landing onto Daption. Daption, in a world of hurt, in trouble, forced to burn the Flash.
Yeah. Very early on in the laning phase. That is going to be really tough here for Daption to try and bring that one back. But this is worth noting that for the first level, like, Fiora's level 1 is actually really, really strong because you can dance around a lot of these fights. But Dardoch, going for something that we were kind of asking for before, just like appearing in mid lane before doing the other half of your camps. And instead, Robbie Bob overplaying it a little bit too much, and even though they deny the cannon, Sudsy stays alive, and Dardoch has to go back to farming.
Very obvious why they want to focus onto that mid lane. I mean, stop Sudsy, of course, don't get the Orianna scaling, but Orianna doesn't have that much mobility in the first place, so if you can burn this Flash before level 6 does come up, it gives a lot of kill threat over to Team Fish Taco onto Sudsy.
Yeah. Sudsy, again, as a player, had their best game of the series in Game 3, and it was on this Orianna. We saw that they were really able to push around Robbie Bob, got the solo kill in the laning phase, and a couple of crucial shockwaves start to shut down Dardoch earlier on in the game. But as we start coming into this one, it is a little bit tougher to actually pilot the Orianna into the Annie, just because of how aggressively Robbie Bob can look to go for these trades, right? Just, there you go, stun. Thanks for the 10 gold.
A little bit of an issue to trade right back. I mean, all you really have in these early levels is like command attack. You'll get dissonance, but it doesn't really do that much. You're dependent on those autos. Now in the bottom lane, Wallflower looking for again, gonna find it. Levitate now out of distance, out of the range, and it's first blood going over to Team Tony top.
Goes over to Snow, and nothing additional to be able to come through. Dardoch a little bit too far, not recognizing where Wallflower was, ends up being the doom there for Daption. But Tony top, the player, not the team, this time also taking a lot of control up here in the top side, which is, you're not supposed to be expecting this Trundle to really already be on the back foot against the Fiora at this point in the game, but now that they're coming back with the Sheen, we'll see if they can start turning around some of their fortunes.
I get a good laugh out of what's going on in the mid lane between Sudsy and Robbie Bob. Like Robbie Bob got, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
It's the wiggle.
I'm gonna get you.
It's the wiggles. Honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of like, yeah. Oh, Robbie!
Oh no, Robbie, wrong spot to be. Wallflower coming in at the right time with the Arctic Assault, forces out the flash from Robbie Bob.
Yeah, another flash coming through from Wallflower. Goes down, is able to get it from Red. Comes into the mid lane, is able to get it from Robbie. But unironically, the wiggle that Robbie has been doing up against Sudsy has been giving them a lot of small opportunities to psych Sudsy out and deny a couple CS here and there. Nicklin diving them every single time. And it's honestly like one of the signals of a really strong player is if you are a master at the wiggle and making sure you can deny bits and pieces over and over and over again. And so far, Robbie's doing a really good job at it this game.
Wiggle, wiggle. That sentence coming out lands onto Daption. Now, Robbie Bob, he did burn his flash in that last little exchange, so that's going to be real nice for Sudsy, who will have to deal with less pressure, less threat coming through. We'll still have his flash up on top of it. Looking over towards this top side, it's been a trade going in favor of Tony top thus far. Alorum trying to find the out trades here. We'll put down the Lantern, but Ultimate gonna be popped out of Tony top, looking to get the kill outright. Has a lot of healing coming out thanks to that Grand Challenge, and Alorum will not be the winner of that trade.
Yeah, I mean, great stuff coming out from Tony as well, right? Consistently looking for all these fights. And again, another player who's been a master of the wiggle during this laning phase, constantly threatening Alorum's like, hey, am I going to fight you? Am I going to go for this next auto attack? Am I going to back away? You don't know, right? You constantly have to respect the fact that I might. And so far, Alorum has not been able to match it. He said he wanted to be the gatekeeper, and it definitely feels as though Tony is tall enough to be here.
Well, most definitely, and with that, Team Tony top are going to utilize the gates established by Tony to go ahead and grab that dragon over the bottom side of the map. Small leads coming out pretty much for almost every lane thus far. Team Fish Taco finding their success mostly through Robbie Bob in the mid lane, but only through small CS leads right there. No windows really capitalized on for Team Fish Taco.
Yeah, and we've seen that in games where Levitate and Snow actually have a good laning phase, they've won every single time so far, right? The only time where Team Fish Taco really found a big win was the time that they got 3-4 plates picked up for Red and Daption in Game 1. And ever since then, it has been all Team Tony top.
Tibbers coming down from Robbie Bob will shove in Sudsy. Good thing here, Sudsy was able to grab that Tear of the Goddess off the last back. So we'll have some sustain in the mana to try and match, but not enough because Robbie Bob with Tibbers out, going to constantly put that dot damage. Be a shoved wave and priority coming out for Team Fish Taco in the mid.
Yeah. Uh-oh. He has no flash.
Red. Here comes the Flay. Death sentence on to Red, and Daption's not going to do a damn thing. ADC will go down for Team Fish Taco, and Levitate is going.
Wow. Yeah, Daption trying to go mid lane to try and find something onto Sudsy, but Sudsy is already back in base. I mean, it's just a great series of plays coming through from the bottom lane here from Levitate and Snow 2. Again, some of the youngest, most rookie members, as Wallflower even trying to track what Dardoch is up to, as we are seeing that Snow 2 already on their way topside.
Lorum swinging away onto Tony top. Now, with Rift Herald being started out of Team Fish Taco, Alorum does feel a little bit more empowered, does have some presence from the rest of the team here. Wallflower trying to find a foot in.
Levitate's not here.
They will not have their marksman. It's a full 5 for Team Fish Taco, so Rift Herald secured for TFT.
Yeah. Big heal for Alorum as well, just like being near that Rift Herald as it dies, but it will cost a couple of camps on the other side of the map. And Wallflower, yet again, they've done this in, I believe, all 3 games previously. They had a CS lead going up against Dardoch. And so, as they take away a couple more camps, It's not common at this point for Dardoch to be this far behind as a teleport comes through.
Got a lucky trusty minion right there saying, "Get down, Mr. President, not going to catch out Robbie Bob." Teleport's still used to reply to this pressure coming in from Team Tony Top, and what that really means is it's Team Fish Taco really dancing to the beat of Team Tony Top, and that's going to continue right now as Wallflower starts to focus down into this bottom lane. Dardoch is there, but he's going to be the center of attention as Wallflower will use an Arctic Assault onto him. Still enough to put that presence there so Robbie Bob doesn't get dived.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm just continuously in awe at how well Tony Top is kind of baiting out all of these small interactions with Alorm, right? So like herring out the Chomp, making sure that you can dance around all the edges of the frozen domain that Alorm has all the extra stats and the extra sustain coming out from, and Tony Top just expertly playing around all of it. Ooh.
He's got to be very, very careful because that snowball can turn into an avalanche. Tony Top gets going, almost got a kill right there, and now recall coming out from Alorm. Does have his teleport to return to lane in a timely manner.
Yeah. And Team Tony Top, I mean, I also want to give a lot of props down here towards Levitate and Snow too, because we didn't have super high expectations for them going into the series or going into this tournament, partly because both of them really just kind of got their starts in 2022, but didn't really have a whole lot of experience, right? We only saw Levitate play for USC for a couple of months before taking a break from the collegiate part as Alorm all-ins.
Alorm going in onto Tony Top. Looking to take the all-in right here. Subterfuge going to be used onto Tony Top. Out comes the pillar, but will not catch Tony Top.
Nice attempt coming through from Alorm to try and take down Tony Top. That's a flash for a ghost. You will take that trade every single time as the Fioras. Snow 2 gets themselves out, right? We're going to go back to that real quick. Levitate was only playing for USC before they joined the Tony Top squad, and similar thing coming out from Snow 2, excuse me. Yeah, Snow 2, who played for a couple like developmental teams and substituted in a couple of places, but realistically got started this year with the Tony Top squad, and now they're doing a decent job actually keeping themselves alive and being crucial to this team's success.
You never know how some of these collegiate marksmen are going to turn out. You know, we had last spring, we had Masu, who we didn't have that many expectations for, but ended up completely blowing us away. Levitate, while not giving me outright the same vibes, is still a little bit along those lines. And now the pressure being applied to both Levitate and Snow. Dardoch looking to hop in, will use the Cyclone, but it's already done as Sudsy has put down Robbie Bob. A trade, now the support's going to be able to take one down as Levitate will be able to find the kill onto Dapshin. Good positioning coming out of Levitate, and Dardoch in a bad situation will have to face the music of Sudsy. Will he? Still trying to find an escape out. The dissonance does get that slow in. You can still get some damage. You're going to need more, but a dash from Dardoch. Is it going to be enough? 200 health remains. Looking to seal the deal. Sudsy will get it.
Nice. I thought Dardoch was out, but Sudsy knew better than that. Goes through with a flash and finds him an extra kill. That was a dive that Team Fish Taco were trying to set up, and Team Tony Top trying to cement their spot in the Challengers League. Red?
Oh. Levitate puts down the chompers, now has the lantern. Death sentence from Snow protects his marksman, and Levitate will go on a killing spree.
You gotta respect the attempt there. Team Fish Taco are falling so far behind. He thought he saw an angle, but Snow is there to bail him out right around the corner. You gotta go for those. You gotta try and make those opportunities happen. Unfortunately, Red didn't calculate that Snow was right around the corner.
The spot lane performing out of their minds in this tournament thus far. Gotta love every single thing they've been able to pull off. You know, I was highlighting a lot of those fights that they have, a lot of that team fight positioning coming through. But overall, Levitate is good at absorbing a lot of the pressure that teams will put. We saw it in the FlyFam game, early game one, came out unscathed, despite FlyFam throwing the kitchen sink at that bottom lane. Same thing happens here. Levitate and Snow continue to impress.
Yeah, and across the board, now it's the entire map that's winning. Right, Levitate and Snow, they're obvious with the kills that they picked up. Sudsy has picked up a couple of kills as well, but Tony Top also up about 2 waves, up 3 plates. Dardoch now trying to turn towards the top lane to see if they can salvage something. The dive's going bottom.
Tony Top are here. The Chompers chaining that crowd control on the Daption, and he will go down as kill number 4 for this Jinx 14 minutes in, Joshi.
It feels as though we already got to start giving congratulations to Team Tony Top, right, as our almost definite next member of the LCS Challengers League coming through. The fact that they have just dominated this one out, and I mean, taking down FlyFam, who was consistently surging, and Tony Top beating up Lunacia, who is one of our solo killingest players. And now they're fighting their way through. Team Fish Taco, another one of the teams that we were, you know, right on the fence. We thought these two teams were going to be somewhat close, but no, it feels as though it's been Team Tony Top the entire way.
Yeah, and this time it's so much harder for Team Fish Taco to find their way back into this. I mean, a lot of their fights, especially in these early games, came from Alorum being able to just press R, just find that backline. Alorum's not on that type of champion. It puts it all on Dardoch to stop Levitate, but it is oh so hard.
It's so hard, right? Daption tried to go with the counter pick with this Nautilus onto the Thresh, but Snow just being a little bit more proactive. A couple of early trades depriving Daption of that flash has meant that Team Tony Top, they're now free to move around the map. They're going to be picking up this Rift Herald, and Alorum needs to be careful. The nail that stands up is the one that gets hammered down. He's the only one pushed out.
Alorum over on that side has to watch out for Tony Top, as he mentioned, but Team Tony Top have already taken down the Rift Herald. They'll be able to secure that 4.2k gold lead. Alorum suffering over on this top side as Tony Top is just bullying them. A little skirmish between junglers right now, both teams. Siege being set up from Team Fish Taco. Ultimate pop right out from Wallflower will send Daption right to the grave. A nice play from Snow. Dardoch looking to turn this back onto Levitate, but this is not a fight to turn. It's a fight to run. Dardoch, one more Cyclone and might be his dying breath as it's another kill going over. Sudsy finds it, but a Rampage now coming through as Red looks to turn it around. Going forward with the Gale Force. Will be able to get a shutdown on the Sudsy. Both of these marksmen looking to show up, and it is a Hex Gate for Red to find the Great Escape.
I mean, that was honestly a pretty good sequence of plays coming out from Red. At the same time, Robbie Bob on the other side of the map gets in objective bounty.
Oh, Levitate's caught out. A nice pickup, and that kill went over to Red. That's 2 shutdowns, Josh.
That's so much money getting picked up by Red. It's still 3,000 gold, but they're going to take this mid lane turret as well, and that's going to cut a lot into all the leads that Team Tony Top have actually built up for themselves. It's still a fairly large lead at this point in the game. They're still up 2 dragons, but now suddenly we have a win condition for Team Fish Taco. Red suddenly just injected with over 1,000 gold over those past couple of fights as Tony Top might try and chase this guy down.
Tony going for the hunt on Alorum will at least get the flash out of Alorum. Next purchase, BF Sword as well as Vampiric Scepter. Let's take another look at that mid lane play where Red shown out.
Yeah, I mean, we get to see that Red, at the end of it, just because nobody is actually able to get on top of them, once the ball has been committed to a different part of the fight, Red is able to walk right back on in. I mean, still, Red-White is able to get a fair amount of damage down, and waiting for the right moment and getting so many of these chakrams just allows them to run down Sudsy by themselves. And I mean, luckily for Red, it's also a Hextech map. Gets themselves right on out. Tony Top not in position to catch him there.
Beautiful play by Red. Very, very calculated. Putting that, what was it, Harvard to work.
Harvard
over there.
Molecular biology.
I had to think about the subject. I'm sorry, Josh. I'm sorry. I'm a math guy. I'm not the biology guy.
Sounds like chemistry with extra steps.
And I hate chemistry.
Well, Red, a PhD candidate coming through. We will see whether or not all the gold that they have just earned for themselves will mean a whole lot. They are at 2-item affiliates already before Levitate can match them. But we have a dragon spawning here in 30 seconds. And even though Red is strong, the rest of his team still trying to find their way in. And I mean, Wallflower, as they drop this down as well, gonna get a lot of damage.
Adaption pulls in Wallflower. Some damage coming back now. Remember, it's a 2-item Aphelios. Red was able to get another back and finish off that BF sword. So now it's 2 items to work with. Still working towards that route is going to be Levitate. Just have those components coming through, but there is the death sentence. It's able to find a mark onto Dabshin. Dardoch's doing some work, but Levitate and Sudsy are completely unchecked. Only Tibbers to draw the line, but that is also farm going over to Team Tony Top.
Dabshin getting caught again. It is going to be a dragon getting picked up for Team Tony Top. There's going to be 3 dragons to the Hextech Soul, one of the best souls in the entire game. And now we're seeing, I mean, Team Fish Taco, they don't have a whole lot to actually try and do. You're seeing that Red's like, oh, are there any chickens over here? Anything I can try and pick up? But the answer is no. Team Tony Top getting everything done before the fights to make sure, and it is Sudsy now, 5-1-2. Sudsy and Levitate, like you said, completely unchecked in this game.
They can't stop him, even with that last fight. No summoners burnt from both of those carries, which meant this front line from Team Tony Top absolutely shine. Unfortunately for Alorum, things are about to look dull up here as Tony currently eyeballing Alorum. Gonna go for a sneaky play. Dabshin will be headed in this direction.
So are Levitate and Snow. And Dabshin left. Oh no.
Dabshin, you don't want to be here, buddy. You don't want to watch what's going on to poor Alorum. Go censor it, please. Oh look, Alorum. We knew ye well, but now you belong to Levitate.
5 kills being picked up by Levitate. So much extra money here. I mean, the only place where Team Tony Top still need to try and find even more is here in this mid lane, but the mid lane turret's so close to falling at this point, and again, they're 4 minutes away from the Hextech Soul at that point. They should all be on 2 items at the very least, whereas a couple of the members for Team Fish Taco might not be.
Oh no.
Wait, did Robbie flash for that?
I didn't see if the flash went through right there. I caught that on the back.
Oh, he stopped the teleport.
Did it stop the teleport? You are kidding me!
That's very funny. Robbie did not flash for that. So, you know, it was a Summoner Spellbook teleport, so it's not the end of the world for Team Tony Top, but it is one of those small victories that you didn't have any idea was coming.
That is just a ridiculous situation. You know, it is what it is. As he said, Sudsy didn't lose out too much, but Team Tony Top still having their way with the map right now as they'll set up over into the mid lane. Taking down that turret, really opening up the space to get a lot of deep vision going their way. And if they want to take this fight, Red, a little bit too far back to keep the DPS going, is at threat of Snow, who's right through that wall. Team Fish Taco disengage.
Yeah, Tony Top at the same time on the far side of the map. Still very, very strong in the side lane. And now it's Team Fish Taco, right? They've actually done a really good job at trying to use the tempo that they have built up to try and get little bits of extra gold, extra waves here and there. And so far, it has been one of the ways that Team Fish Taco have kind of kept our games at least a little bit close.
Ooh, Shockwave coming out. Robbie Bob in a world of hurt, and Wallflower engages onto Dabshin. It's another kill going over to Levitate.
It's another death for Dabshin as well. They have been isolating this support. It's one of the things about this Nautilus, when it starts looking bad, it starts looking terrible because you are so squishy. You can't get fights started. You are just the one person who has been selected to die over and over. And Team Tony Top, they're starting up the Baron. Here's the flank from Tony.
Here. Robbie Bob is there, throws Tibbers down onto Levitate. Levitate creates some distance, flashes out of the Baron pit. He goes down though, and now Red under attack by Tony. Tony needing to get one more leap forward onto those Vitals to take down Red. Finally going to expire. Ooh. Vital almost spawning on the wrong spot for Red right there. Should be able to escape nonetheless, but Team Tony Top get Baron.
There is still a kill getting picked up, like called out from Robbie. Was able to take down Levitate. But still, the Baron, that's so much money. 3 items completed for Levitate. Sudsy doesn't have 3 items completed just quite yet, but you know it's going to be such a difficult fight. And Alorum on the other side of the map hasn't even impacted the structure yet, isn't even able to get the turret.
In a minute until this dragon does come down. Team Fish Taco will try and set their first foot over here. They will be able to grab the Scuttle Crab, so some saving grace coming out. They're definitely going to need it. This is Dragon Soul Point apart. They need to really fight around. Team Fish Taco, they need to make magic happen, Josh.
Yeah. I mean, It's got to be Robbie. It's got to be Red. These two are the damage for the team. Looking for Wallflower. He's tanky.
But it's a tank, as you said. There's the death sentence coming out.
Robbie!
Dardoch, they're all into that choke point, and Dardoch's looking to capitalize. Able to get the knockup onto Levitate. Levitate going over towards the air. Snow runs low and goes down. Robbie will grab the kill. A great pick found by Team Fish Taco, and they can breathe again.
Yeah, the fact that Robbie was on the side there, preventing the damage from coming in.
Robbie once again getting a stun onto Tony Top.
Oh, they got Levitate.
But there is Levitate out of position, and Alorum will put the club down onto his skull.
That's some magic right there for Team Fish Taco. They're able to pick up at least one dragon here and really cut into some of the lead that Team Tony Top has. But Eric, I got news. Getting these small shutdowns, I mean, it's nice. The objective bounties will lower the gold lead, but it's still a 3-item Jinx. It's still Sudsy who is getting very close to 3 items themselves. It's not as though Team Fish Taco, they scale okay, but Orianna hitting level 16 when they get their Rabadons completed is going to be so difficult to deal with because they can blow up Red instantly. Red will have to be so careful.
We're getting closer and closer to that moment with the 6-1 for Orianna. See, already one Needless in the inventory. Even with that last win coming out from Team Fish Taco, it doesn't feel like a win. This is still very much a Team Tony Top game, and Sudsy getting more income over on this top side with the solo turret.
Yeah, 2 kills. That's half a needlessly large rod right there, setting up. And it was one of those great spots where Robbie happened to be in the right position. With no flash, you have to go for some of these big opportunities. The Rabadons is completed, so Robbie hurts. I'm still trying to figure out a way for Team Fish Taco to consistently try and find some of these plays. And I mean, Alorum choosing to go with the Sterix Gauge will be tankier, but will not have the same kind of hole-breaking opportunities. Just staying in the side lane and trying to overtake Tony Top over and over again.
Tony Top got pretty accelerated through the map state, kind of being in the state that it was, and how well the rest of Team Tony Top have been doing. Does hold some pretty good control over towards that top end. And, facing Alorum, we'll have that side lane pressure constantly going on that Team Tony Top like to play around, usually with some teleport flanks on top of it, and teleport is coming up sometime soon. We got 3 minutes before a dragon does spawn. Would expect something to happen around there.
We also have to ask, right, we've seen that after the Kennen game and the Gwen game, Tony Top on the Fiora has had some fantastic flanks so far. Wasn't able to find any kills with it this time around, but got very close. Forced Red, the most fed member of Team Fish Taco, out of the fight last time around. And now Team Fish Taco, they do got to be very careful because the teleport is available. And there are going to be a couple of wards for both Sudsy and Tony Top to at least think about teleporting to as we start thinking about the Dragon, or thinking about the Baron.
Red's going to be under so much pressure. I mean, that big chunk of gold he got, he's at 3 items now, which feels absolutely fantastic for the Aphelios, but not for the rest of the team, which has been struggling, which has been so far behind. It's going to be a big picture to try and defend Red and make sure he doesn't get jumped on in some of these fights. Now, even with Robbie Bob, the build he's going does have that death cap completed. Sure, it's a good amount of burst damage if you can get onto Levitate, but it also makes him quite squishy. Tony Top are not one to shy away from an engage.
Yeah, Robbie Bob knows that in this kind of game, he needs a lot of power now. He needs to be very strong around some of these fights. And Alorum picks up a bounty here as well. Robbie.
Oh, Robbie in trouble.
Wow, the bait.
Get away from the Tibbers. Man, Tony Top.
That's crazy. We were saying that Tony is the best wiggler in the series. And that is a perfect example of it, right? He just goes in, he's like, yeah, I'm going to kill you. And just kidding. Haha. Thanks for your bear, nerd. And then he just walks away.
And he takes the turret right after. Even more gold for Team Tony Top as they start to set around the Baron area. Expect them to go for it right now. Not exactly the best positioning coming through. Team Fish Taco are not too far off. They do get some wards out to scout.
Yeah. They do have a small window, about 30 more seconds, where the Baron is still down. That could be a big opportunity for Tony Top. To grab the wrong monkey, but I mean, Annie without Tibbers is like half a champion, right? You do have a small window, but it is such a short cooldown to actually try and take advantage of. That doesn't look as though Team Tony Top will be able to do so.
This asks the question of where do you want to dance towards? Dragon will be spawning in 45 seconds. Team Fish Taco would like to get them away from that objective and not allow them to get the Dragon Soul, but Baron is also there, so that puts a situation where Team Tony Top can flex between either objective, keep that threat there, keep Tony Top himself over in a side lane to try and rip apart the rest of Team Fish Taco. Right now, it's looking good for Team Tony Top.
Yeah. I mean, Team Tony Top, they're clearing out some of this vision as well. They do need to clear out the blue ward that is currently sitting in the pit in order to be any credible threat, but look at the damage that Tony Top's able to do to Alorum.
Unlucky vitals for Alorum.
I was watching John Wick clips last night, and oh my gosh, just like, this is in your aorta. Like, what do you do? Those are some of the craziest vitals, and that is a huge proc on the turret. An inhibitor going down for Tony Top.
That is so disheartening right now. Alorum can do nothing to stop this. Stardog's going to go in. They're trying to find something, but they're fighting down a man and walking in with the shockwave from Sunsy.
He's resetting.
He finds it, and it gives the reset over to Levitate, who tears them apart. Red! He will shut down Levitate and turn it for Team Fish Taco, but the base is under attack.
What do they get out of it, right? That is just so much more time for Tony Top. He's gonna get both.
He's grabbing both Nexus towers. He's looking to get the parry and the stun onto Red, but able to hold it back. Tony Top will go down, but that is an exposed Nexus now. Tony Top are so close to taking this, but man, Red clutched.
Yeah, great stuff coming through from Red. Even starting off that fight stunned, going up against Levitate, he's still able to win it, but honestly, great flank coming here from Dardoch to cut out Sudsy. Sudsy trying to block the rest of the team from coming in, but instantly gets jumped upon and creates so much chaos. And look at the damage Red does with this ultimate as well. It's been a while since we've seen those really take off like that. And once we're here, it's just about both AD carries and the stun coming through. It's not enough. The bear is there. The bear is the difference, and Robbie Bob helps out from the grave.
He lost an auto to Tibbers. That hurts right there. Oh, goodness gracious. Taco Gaming, Team Fish Taco now going to have that opening to be able to deny another Dragon from Team Tony Top. Second Drake grabbed, Baron on top of it. They have life as the lead has now fallen to just 900, basically nothing now, Josh.
Yeah, with both the Baron and the Dragon off the table, there's not a lot for Team Tony Top to actually play for in the meantime, but we also got to see how crazy Tony himself is on the side lane. Even though he is still 0-1-1, the amount of pressure he puts onto Alorum off on the side is absolutely crazy. Taking down both Nexus turrets while Alorum were there. Alorum had to back at least 2-3 times to try and defend those objectives.
Yeah, and even with that big loss for Team Tony Top, what happened in that last fight, you know, Tony Top is just back to another day in the office. We're going to go back to pressuring these side lanes. Alorum can't match him, and that is pretty much true for the rest of this game with the way that Tony Top's been going. But now Team Fish Taco, they are finding some life back to them. It's coming out of these fights, but they have to be smart about it because Tony Top will backdoor your base.
True. I mean, that's one of the crazy things, right? You have to be so careful in this bottom side of the map because you have no vision until he starts hitting your Nexus. And at the same time, Tony's tops. Trying to think of a better way to say that. I think I've already ruined it, but...
You talk about Tony's bottoms as well?
No comment. Tony has so much of his team already trying to set him up for success up here on the top side of the map, but it is really, really hard to split push against somebody who has Baron minions on their side. So we just got to wait for the next series of items to be completed. Yeah. 9-4-4 here for Levitate, but on the same number of items, actually, as Red. 4.5 plus boots. Wow, that was a very discordant noise. I hope I don't have to hear that ever again.
Very discord noise?
Discordant. The two sweepers going off right next to each other.
Oh.
Do you hear that? It's like,
Yeah,
huh?
that's fine. Enjoyable noise. I think you're looking for the word dissonant. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. I like dissonance. I like chaos. I like what Team Tony Top and Team Fish Taco are bringing for us today.
Yeah. It's definitely been, like, I'm really glad that we're seeing another punchback from Team Fish Taco. I was worried that it was going to be too easy for Team Tony Top to close out this game, but Red in particular has had a fantastic game, picking up a lot of these big crucial shutdowns to have a 1,000 gold shutdown of his own at this point. And now as we're waiting for the next series of objectives to actually spawn, Team Fish Taco, they don't have to leave their base, effectively. They just need to catch all the waves as they come in, you know, help Dardoch get a couple of these camps from time to time. But otherwise, it's mostly just about them trying to make sure that there's no opportunity for a backdoor, and as this inhibitor spawns back up, they're much less worried about it, right? Tony Top needs to at least kill an extra objective, and that's going to be their warning signal, right? Whenever Tony Top goes for that, they're going to have to go for a back to make sure that they don't lose their base.
And that's such a pesky thing to have in the back of your mind, that, like, we have to play nearly perfect now. Because if we make the wrong mistake at the wrong time, it's pretty much game over, regardless of how the team fight goes. So Tony Top now positioning over back towards the top end of the map. Dragon does spawn in the next minute. We'll have a minute 40 before we do get the Baron. So things going to stay passive until that end. For the most part, it will be a battle of vision control before we get the big team fight.
Yeah. It is worth noting, though, that even if Team Tony Top win this and move their way up to the Challengers League, right, Team Fish Taco will have another opportunity to play again. They will go down to the lower bracket where they will have another best of 5. It's one of the benefits of winning their first series in the first place when they were playing up against Team Liquid first, and now Team Tony Top, they are denying a lot of the vision around here. There's no deep teleport wards for Team Fish Taco to go for at all. And crucially, I mean, both Alorum and Robbie Bob are on the far side of the map, potentially trying to deal with Tony Top. That's so much freedom here in the mid lane, here in the bottom lane for Sudsy, for Levitate to get things pushed out. And wow, Dardoch, that was close.
At the same time that the Dragon is spawning too, but oh, Tony Top looking to go onto it. Alorum feels like he can take these fights now. Pillar goes down and Tony Top heads for the heals.
Yeah, here we go. Team Fish Taco, they're coming through. They don't have any flanks. They're just walking right on in. Sudsy was not there to stop them with the orb.
Dragon now started up by Team Tony Top. Daption, he's gonna miss the hook. A brilliant time for Team Tony Top. Dardoch looking for more. They'll find Wallflower. Finally, Dardoch able to get on Levitate, but Levitate standing healthy, puts out the zap, still trying to get in the damage. Super Mega Death Rocket goes down, but no! It's a triple kill for Red. Tony Top running away from Alorum and Team Fish Taco. They might have done it, Joshi.
They might have done it. This was another way, just like the last game with so many turrets to go. It's not going to matter. Alarm just runs up and takes them. They only have 2 minions. That's all they need as the waves are starting to come through. They do so much damage to the structures. Red, the hero.
The hero.
Taking them to game 5.
Indeed, Josh. Red, so much he was able to pick up. That economy booming out. Now it's up to Tony all by his lonesome, but there's 5 of Team Fish Taco and 1 Tony. Game number 5. Hit the silver scrapes, baby.
Wow, another series going all the way to game 5 here in order to try and find their way into the Challengers League, and Team Fish Taco firing right on back, and it was Red, I think the player that most of us had the least expectations going into this series and into this potential Challengers opportunity. Just because they're so new, but standing up, showcasing that you can do both. Again, PhD candidate and a star player here. Fantastic stuff coming through in the clutch moment.
The smart plays we got from Red, especially that Hex Gate escape, that was absolutely absurd, but really clutching it out in these fights and getting us to a game 5, Josh. Winner takes it all. We're going to throw it over a break. When we return, we'll have Mazel, the Rally Cry halftime show, and of course, game number 5. You're not going to want to miss it.